when we discuss excuse me, when we discuss about the various theories. So let's first discuss maybe Mrs. Eliama about what are some of the theories or approaches to understanding theories.
There are so many theories, approaches which have been included in the theory. There is one is classical approach, the second one is human relation approach, the third one is a system approach, fourth one is behavioral approach, fifth one is social and psychological approach, and sixth is ecological approach.
Okay, so these are some of the major classification
of theories.
So let's take one by one. Now when we are talking about these approaches, try to interrelate it with your clinical work, with your hospital work, or with your field work where you are working, so that you are able to understand why these theories are important. Maybe we start explaining what a classical approach is, please.
Classical approach, this is according to the author Luther Gulick and Lyndall Ulrich. He said that it is formulated universal principles of organization. So these are that is why he called it is classical theory of organization. They believe that there is the science of administration can be developed based on the principles of experience of the administrator. So in classical theory also it can be described in three ways: scientific management, bureaucratic theory, and formal organizational theory. So in scientific management, Frederick Winslow Taylor, he is the father of scientific management. He believes that management is a true science. And bureaucratic theory, he explains that the power influence used by the body of administrative officials. So in bureaucratic theory there is Max Weber. He described about the characteristic of certain bureaucratic theory.
Should we first go to the first theory which you were trying to say, that Taylor mentioned that best management is a true science?
Yes, it's a true science.
Now by that we mean that if a nursing administrator is managing the resources in terms of equipment, in terms of supplies,
yes,
in terms of manpower,
in terms of manpower,
so we will categorize her as that she is applying the science in managing the institution. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. So let's explain what do we mean. I mean, how Taylor has gone in detail about this scientific management.
He proposed that there is a new system of consisting three parts:
yes,
observation and analysis of the work through standard, differential rate system of piecework, paying man and not in position. Give more of attention to the employee who is working rather than giving position to that particular person.
Ms. Joshua, would you like to quote any example which Eliama has raised?
See ma'am, it's this classical theory, it's mainly based on the scientific based. And in this scientific based means, that means whatever you are going to do, it should have some scientific background.
Okay. So that is why we say that the efforts are made by the nursing administrators to make observation of what is being done. And when we say observation, that is a scientific base. Analyze that what is the job responsibility of nursing administrator and that of a grassroots level worker, that is staff nurse. Likewise, we don't pay that because you are a nursing administrator, according to this theory anyway, that you as a nurse administrator you will get that much of salary, but the payment is according to the work which they are doing, paying men, not the positions. And the third one which she pointed out was a differential rate system of a piecework. That means what is an important piecework in ICU a nurse is doing. That's more important, and that's why probably they talked about the scientific base. Okay. So some of the principles, would you like to talk about? Principles of scientific management?
The development of true science, scientific selection of the workmen, scientific education and development of workmen, intimate friendly cooperation between the management and the workers.
So it is boiling down that we need to consider an individual as an important person. Employee as an important person, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you were talking about the bureaucratic theory.
Yes. Bureaucratic theory that explains about the power and influence used by the body of administrative officials. So in Max Weber, he described the characteristic of bureaucracy. There is a definite or clear hierarchy of the offices. The functions of the offices are clearly specified. Officials are appointed on the basis of the contract. They are selected on the basis of professional qualification. They are paid according to the position in the hierarchy. They are promoted by seniority and merit as per the decision of their supervisors. The officials are subjected to unified control and system of discipline.
So I think this is very interesting, because bureaucratic approach is the one which is trying to bring discipline as
Yes.
per the as per Max. It is trying to bring the discipline in the organization, strictness and continuity. Many times it is not liked, but it has got its positive point and negative points. For you, example, you said clear or definite hierarchy.
Yes.
We know that there is a nursing superintendent on the top. Then we have the deputy nursing superintendent, and then coming the departmental sister, ward sister and staff nurses. So there is a clear hierarchy that a staff nurse, if she needs to get something done, she has a channel of communication. Likewise, function of offices are clearly specified.
Yes.
As staff nurse, you are going to be a primary care provider. As ward sisters, you are supervisors and primary care providers. So the question is that a discipline is there. Also, we find that some strictness is there, that what is to be done by whom, so that the work is done in a very organized manner. And that's probably a bureaucratic approach. And I think at times it, yes.
Then there are criticism also on this. They said it is too rigid and there is less flexibility and dominated by the unified control. Because there is a person who is on the top of hierarchy and the person who is having the control of above. So there is unified control, and people, those who are under them, can also give the suggestions, but there is a control is being maintained by the topper higher level person.
Right. I think many times this comes, that every decision comes from the head office. Go and find out from the head office. And if the control is too centralized, then sometimes the decision made may not be so much human oriented or persons oriented. But that is why this criticism comes, and that is why you find people prefer that let us have more of a combination of a bureaucratic and democratic approach. So that where you find that the discipline is to be maintained, an order can be issued by the nursing superintendent, and where we want that the whole team should work together. So after issuing the order, a democratic approach is there where they can be brought together, and that is why the criticism is there. Yes. What is the other theory which you were trying to explain, please?
The formal organization theory.
Okay.
This explained about the mechanics theory or structural theory. The focus is main on the organization. There says that especially like the main administrative authors like Gulick, Ervik, Henry Fayol and Mary Parker, they all say that administration is an administration regardless of the kind of work being undertaken or context within which the work is performed.
That's very important. That is why, when you go on duty, it is very important to be hale and hearty to go on duty, because work is work. This is what is important, If you are not well, it is better you stay home so that the administration of the work does not suffer. This is what is taken by Fayol and others, that administration is an administration. You cannot have lacunae in that, and you cannot grumble about it, you cannot talk that nothing can be done about it, because administration is to administer, to see that the work goes on properly. But it also has certain criticism, no? Elima?
Yes, there are criticism that the organization is viewed as a machine and the people are expected to work in the requirement of preset plan. So the opinion of human beings are not given importance. Emphasis is on the amount of work being decided by the top management.
Right. Because that's what is the organization wants. Because it's a formal organization. And if you have a formal organization, obviously there will be that kind of a flow coming. Joshua, would you like to add anything else?
see, ma'am, in this what will happen, that the work is going to be done as a machine. The human beings, they are not treating it in a well manner because they think the machines are doing each and everything. They will give a secondary thought to the machine.
People.
But the primary thought they will be given to the
Work. So this is where it is criticized, because people who are working are human beings, and these human beings also need equal attention. Concern is to be there, and that concern lacks in this formal organization theory. Okay, now these were part of the classical approach, am I right?
Yes.
Now let's take the other one which you were talking about, human relation approach, because we are talking since such a long time. Then in bureaucratic approach or in formal organization, the touch to the human being is very less. Let's see what Mayo talks about human relation approach.
Mayo talks about the human relation refers to the relation between the employee and the employer, which are not regulated by legal norms but by moral and psychological factors.
Well, that's an important point. That means legally the person need not have that kind of relationship. Nobody is going to say that why you did not come when this particular person was sick. When your employee was sick, to the director, nobody is going to say, or nursing superintendent, why did you visit to your employee? Because legally she or he is not bound. But yes, morally and psychologically
he is bound.
Once morally and psychologically a person is attending to her or his employees, that shows that this is what is a human relation approach. Right.
And human approach lays more of emphasis on the people and their motivation. And Mayer concentrated his attention on the behavior of the workers and their productive capacity. He also maintained between the relationship between the physical work, the environment where they are working, the well-being of the workers, and the productivity of the worker on the other hand.
Now this is very interesting. That means in a holistic environment, how the individual performs. I think this is very nice, because in this kind of approach, human relation approach, they say that if you want more productivity, keep your employees happy. Happy up to extent that they are able to maintain the discipline. They don't misuse it or abuse the facilities, but they are able to maintain the discipline and also get satisfied. Now may I request the regional director to inform us how many students of Diploma in Nursing Administration are attending today's teleconference, because this is for the students of Diploma in Nursing Administration. Well, if BSc nursing students are also attending, there will be an added learning for them, but please give us the attendance, how many students are attending to today's teleconference, which we have for students of Diploma in Nursing Administration. So we talked about the classical approach.
Yes.
We discussed about human relation approach. Let's talk about the third approach which you were mentioning about, system approach.
Yes. In system approach, a system is defined as a set of arrangement of things which are connected or related so as to form a unity of organic whole. This is composed of elements related, depend upon one another, and system approach is based on the thesis of all parts of the organizations are interrelated, interconnected and interdependent. This approach is first developed by natural and physical sciences, and Taylor used a system of administrative and management literature in this. And the main behavioralist, that is Chester Bernard, he has made his contribution in describing the system approach in the management. He laid emphasis on the psychological aspects of management. So main relationship on the thesis which he has made, that organizations are interrelated, interconnected and interdependent.
So he did explain that there is a cooperation which originates in the needs of an individual, and there are coordinated personal activities or forces which helps in producing or bringing out the results. For example, it's a sort of a team approach kind of a thing, where you know a team of nursing personnel, when they work to help the patient to come out of physical crisis or a heart attack, these are the coordinated activities and which forces an individual to recover, right? But he did mention that there are certain important variables of an organization which are existing. Which are some of those, please?
There are persons who are able to communicate with each other and who are willing to contribute the action and to accomplish a common purpose.
Okay. So these are the major things.
Major things which he has explained, Bernard has explained.
So that means if we look at the human relation approach and if we look at the system approach, there is some interrelationship. Why we are trying to say this to you, don't get worried about what kind of theory it is, but try to see that as a nurse administrator, you can have the mix of so many theories. But the result should be that your patients are able to get good nursing care. Your patient should get satisfied from the hospital before they leave. So these are all ways to organize the nursing care. These are the methods, these are the approaches by which you can work as a team to see that your patients are satisfied and the recovery rate is high. It is cost effective for the hospital and also cost effective for labor effective for the nurses, that they do not have to put so much of physical efforts, yet the patients are able to recover well and are satisfied. The other approach is again a behavioral approach. Would you like to explain something about it?
In behavioral approach, the emphasis is laid on the information dimension of the organization, and the focus is on the values of human being and rationality in the working of an organization. Now Herbert Simon, he analyzed that human behavior is in terms of its value, preference and decision making process. To study the behavioral approach, it is important to understand the organization and its working human behavior, which is very complex and dynamic. So there are certain criticism also regarding this.
Maybe rationality.
Yeah, rationality.
Because often Simon said that how can you think of rationality in the behavior of a patient or individual? Because something you feel is irrational may not be irrational from the point of view of patient or human being, because human beings are complex. They have many needs. And because of that complexity, their behavior may be rational from their point of view. So that's the criticism which has come from that, because when you are touching the human behavior is not a behavior where you can categorize this is right and wrong. Yes,
individuality will be there.
Very important. The individuality is there, and that individuality is the one which is to be given importance, and that is why his approach, Herbert Simon's approach on this aspect is criticized. And decision making, you said. Now let's take example from nursing Joshua or Elima, that how this theory helps in learning about decision making.
Regarding the skill of a person which a person is going to develop in decision making, that you are, for an example, like if you are giving particular job to a person who is doing that and asking that particular person to do that job, and the skill is being developed every day-to-day process of to that person. And same way the moral value and habits also is increased along with the skill.
Also, if we quote another example, for example, when you are making a decision that all the nurses who are coming at 7 a.m. in the morning should come dot at 7 o'clock.
Yes.
Now, they have to be there because patients need to be looked after. The other decision which you make is that whoever comes late by 2 minutes or 5 minutes also, the half day casually will be cut. Suppose this is a decision you made. Very nice decision, a bureaucratic approach is used in that, because you want that the patient should not suffer, because patient cannot be left for 5 minutes alone. However, if you find out of 7 nurses, 5 are staying in the hospital campus, 2 are coming from outside, if they happen to be late for 2 to 3 minutes or 5 minutes plus minus, probably you will have to give that kind of leverage to the ward sister, that accommodation may be done because of the
coming from
distance. This of course should not be a practice, but once in a while if this happens, the emergency in the ward should be tackled by other
Yeah,
five
other five.
nurses. The patient, in 5 minutes you can lose a patient
Yes.
who requires cardiopulmonary resuscitation. So we cannot take risk for nurse to come 5 minutes late. But out of 7, if 5 are already present, probably they can take the load for that. But then it should not be practiced. And it should not be a punishment for the people who are staying in the campus, that they should be on time every day and the others can take the advantage. But a decision, as you very rightly said, a decision can be made along with little bit of human approach or moral values one you keep in mind, That's what is very important. The other theory which you were talking about is social psychological approach. Would you like to describe that, please?
In social psychological approach, the contribution is given by Dugas, McGraw and Abraham Maslow. They are the significant in administration, and this, he said, is social psychological approach is a tool to understand the relationship between a person and the organization. For example, like why does a person need to work in an organization, and what are the conditions which improve the performance of the people when they are at work. So there is a interaction between the management and the worker, and it is used as a tool, psychosocial approach.
Okay.
Then the organization, people work individually as well as in group when we are working situation. So Abraham Maslow, he has explained about the hierarchy of needs of a human beings. Like in the hierarchy on the lower section, he said there is a physiological need of a person, there is a survival need. Every human beings, they meet the needs like hunger, thirst, shelter and clothes. That is the basic lower need of every person. When these needs are fulfilled, then the people think of a level of security and safety needs. And once this security and safety needs have been fulfilled, that is the both psychologically and emotionally, the person who is working in the organization feels that they are job is security and safety provides, that means it gives a psychological support to the person who is working in the organization.
Joshua, would you like to add something?
Yeah, ma'am, in this, because he wanted to say that there is a 4 needs the person is having, and the first need is a basic need, that is a physiological needs. I am a person who is going to fulfill these needs, then the person is going to switch on to another need, that is a safety needs.
Yes.
When the safety needs are going to be fulfilled, then he is going to switch on to the social needs.
Right.
And that means these all needs are interrelated, and all these needs have to be met by the organization.
Right. Very important, because I think both of them are trying to say that the needs, the hierarchy of needs means that there has to be, if you do not provide food, shelter, clothing to an individual, they are not bothered whether they are safe or not. First is that their tummy should be full. If that is there, there should be clothes to wear, there should be shelter. Now, if these needs are satisfied, then what one looks for security. It is a personal security, physical security, social security, emotional security, as Rosemary, Joshua and Elima are saying. Then you talked about social needs. Yes, Elima, could you elaborate?
Social needs, usually man is a social being, so they interact each other. So if the social needs of an employee in the organization are not met, they become very hostile and resistant. They don't feel like to work in that particular condition which has been provided by the organization. So these needs, when these needs are met, then they think of switch over to the other need.
Now let's go to an example. As a ward sister, you must be finding that many of your staff nurses are very good ICU nurses. Excellent ICU nurses. You call them at, they work from 7 in the morning till 7 at night. And then you say, okay, the other staff nurse has not come. Can you go for 2 hours rest and come back again? She comes back again. You allow her to work for 3-4 days like this. Believe me or not, she is going to quit. Because she is going into a burnout syndrome. She has no time, no socialization. That is why night duty is not given for a longer period to the nurses. Night duty is not given for a longer period because the whole world is awake in the daytime. And when you are working at night and you sleep in the daytime, So you have no social interaction, thereby no social desires are fulfilled, and you start getting frustrated, and that's where you think, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? And that causes lot of stress on you. So once your physiological need, as you all said, are satisfied, and then your security needs are there, social security in terms of job, in terms of physiology, in terms of physical, in terms of emotional, you want your social needs to be satisfied. Yes. The next one, please.
Next is esteem needs. In esteem needs, that is one of the higher level of needs. The people, those who are working in the organization, they strive towards to get the power, achievement and status in that particular organization.
Okay.
So even that they are having the self-esteem of themselves and even from others.
Now this I think is very important, because you know, you want to know that what others think about you and what you think about yourself.
Yes.
How does it happen? It happens on the feedback from people you get. You see, some people will say, okay, that particular nurse is a very good bedside nurse. Oh, she's very pleasant nurse. She's very well groomed and a neat nurse. I think what she needs to do is that she needs to improve in certain educational skills. So you look for that girl and you say, well, she's got many positive points. Let me send her for some in-service education. She comes back and then she makes an edge over others because she had many plus points. Now, once she gets these kind of feedback, this student, this nurse works harder and harder because it gives her satisfaction and it gives satisfaction to others. So this is what is called as self-esteem. There is enhancement of self-esteem of a person when you give positive strokes. When you say, you reinforce that you are a good nurse. What has happened to you past 2 months? Why don't you come and discuss with me? Because everybody was appreciative of you. So that positive stroke, she will immediately have tears in her eyes and will say that I want to come and talk to you. And when you hear her problem, you say, why didn't I attend to this nurse 2 months before? So the positive strokes will help you, will help this nurse to come out with the crisis which she or he is going through and enhance her self-esteem. That I am still not that bad, I am still good, and observation is being made on me. So these needs come later on. Once the basic needs are satisfied, and same is applicable in the patient's condition. If patient is very sick, wants to be first physically comfortable, wants to see that he can eat, he can chew some food and eat and enjoy it, you know. Yes, Gopal. Yes, please.
Hi, good afternoon, madam.
Good afternoon.
मैम, ये हमारा क्वेश्चन था
हाँ जी.
ये फिलॉसफी ऑफ नर्सिंग सर्विस एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन के बारे में.
फिलॉसफी ऑफ नर्सिंग एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन के बारे में क्या क्वेश्चन है जी?
Why is necessary for nursing?
अच्छा, ये आपका असाइनमेंट का क्वेश्चन है.
Philosophy of nursing.
अच्छा, okay, we can go back and answer. Should I answer or would you like to answer? Huh? Would you like to answer? Any one of you, or should I take up?
What he wants to ask.
He wants to know why it is important for nursing personnel to understand philosophy in nursing. See, what is philosophy? That is your first unit actually. If you look up this block 1, it talks about philosophy, which we covered up last time. Philosophy is what you believe. As a nurse, as a nursing personnel, as nursing educationists, as nursing administrators, we believe that the nurse should be able to provide comprehensive nursing care of par excellence to the patients, having the knowledge, skills and attitude for preventive care, for promotive care, for preventive care, for curative care and for rehabilitative aspects. This is the belief of nursing personnel. That is why every nurse who gets into a profession has to believe that what am I doing to be a nurse? If I am a nurse, I am expected to see that my patient gets good care so that I can promote their health, I can prevent them from diseases, I can provide good comprehensive care. For that I need to develop knowledge, skills and positive attitude to give care. when my patient is discharging, I should be able to provide the rehabilitative care. Also, the belief is that once if you have done a training, that is not sufficient. You as a nurse should be able to update your knowledge and skills because medical technology is changing very fast. So you also need to update your knowledge and skills like you are doing now, Diploma in Nursing Administration program. So this is that your belief is that you should be able to update your knowledge and skills and keep updating this as the trends of nursing education are changing so that you are able to meet the demand of society. I think we had a very good discussion last month also, but if these points make you clear, and if you are still not clear, you are most welcome to ask us again. Okay? Now we were talking about the Maslow's hierarchy, Abraham Maslow's needs of, hierarchy of needs, and in which you mentioned about esteem needs. Now before that, may I know how many students are attending the teleconference where you are sitting in Bhopal, please? Yes. The next need, please.
The next need is self-actualization need.
Yes.
In this, the fulfillment of every needs is being down on the down part. This is one of the highest level of need of a person. That means he has the other needs are fulfilled. He get a higher degree of satisfaction to his individual as a person and also in his work and life situation. So this person fulfills all his potentials what he is needed. And this represents the person's motivation to transform perception of self into the reality situation.
Very good. Would you like to support with example, please?
See, ma'am, what will happen if a person is going to be satisfied on his work? Then he is going to think that he will have a self-actualization, that I am satisfied on my workplace, that each and every needs are going to be met. I am having a job satisfaction, and it will give her the self-actualization.
And as Madam Elima said, that the person is going to have perception about self. Person is going to say that, well, I don't mind whether anybody is giving me whatever grade, but definitely I am satisfied that my patients are spick and span, my patients are getting good care, my patients are not grumbling. Now this is what gives a feeling to an individual of a self-actualization, that I am a nurse. Nobody has to tell me that this particular patient is having cyanosis, start the oxygen, let me rush and start the oxygen. Thank goodness I started, my patient got saved, She or he becomes answerable to the deeds what she or he does for the patient to herself, not to anybody else, to please anyone else or to get reward. That's what comes as self-actualization. And this is the, as you said, is the highest need. Okay. Now there is another kind of a theory. Would you like to explain, please?
This is McGregor's theory of X and Y.
Okay.
This is McGregor. He is a social psychologist, and he wants to explain about the best out of the human beings in the organization. Is attributed to our conventional view of organization. According to his theory X, the management is getting work done through other people. But here also some of the assumptions about the human nature and human behavior. There is the assumptions which he has made, that the average human being has an inherent dislike towards the work and will try to avoid it. Because of dislike of his work, most people must be coerced, controlled, directed and threatened with punishment. On an average human being prefers to be directed, has little ambition, wants security and above all avoids responsibility.
This is the view. This is the view.
This is the view about these things. This theory X. But in theory X, it assumes that people are very lazy, lacking ambition, resistant for any change, non-creative and can be deceived easily. So management has to adopt two main strategies for this X theory X. That is, one is hard strategy and this other one is soft strategy.
Okay.
In hard strategy, they implies the use of a close supervision of a person and there is tight control. Now, in soft strategies, this includes the harmonizing demands for the organization and that of the employees. So whatever demands the employee is asking, they are harmonizing that and giving. That is a soft strategy. And hard strategy, they are explaining that there is close supervision to the worker always, and there is a tight control for the work.
So as a nursing administrator, I think this gives us lots of clues that how, what approach we can use at what time, for whom. Because we will have different kind of nursing personnel, we will also have different kind of patients. For them, as nurse administrators, you will have to guide to your nurses what kind of approach you can use. And that's why in nursing administration, these approaches are being discussed so that you understand as a nurse administrator that what is the best in your situation. Bhopal, kindly let me know how many students are attending teleconference and also other regions, because I just got a call from Bhopal, please. Let's go to the Y. You talked about X.
X theory.
That the people are lazy, they don't want to work, they have to be pushed to work. But then you can use a hard strategy as well as a soft strategy. Then what is Y theory?
Y theory also look into the relationship between the human being and the management.
Okay.
So here also there are some assumptions about the human nature under the theory Y. And the expenditure of physical and mental efforts in the work is as natural as play or rest. The average human being does not inherently dislike the work depending upon controllable conditions. The work may be a source of satisfaction or it may be a punishment.
Okay.
So,
yes, Bhopal?
Hello?
Yes?
Hello?
Yes, please.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Ma'am, just मुझे टर्म्स मतलब क्लियर करना था नर्सिंग एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन.
Sorry?
नर्सिंग का मतलब
What is nursing?
एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, नर्सिंग एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन.
Okay. What and how many students are attending the teleconference, please?
5.
5. Good. The question is asked, how would you define the word nursing administration? Would you like to answer, please?
administration is an enabling process of formulated plans and policies which has to be implemented and to achieved for to get work done, so that we will get a evaluatory feedback for the organization.
And also administration is to administer. To administer those policies, as you very rightly said, it is an enabling process. To administer those policies so that the work keeps on going or activities keep on going, and same is applicable in nursing administration. In that case, what we need to do is that the nursing administrators need to see that you identify those people and see that the process continues and the activities need to be carried on. That is why we say nursing administration is to administer those policies, those activities by which we are able to achieve the goals and evaluate the goals. Am I right? I hope that made clear. And there, if you open your block 1, and if you take the concept of nursing administration, it gives you the definition of all the terms. See, it talks about management, public administration, administration. This is the first block we are covering today. Sorry. Can you see, this is a block, and in the beginning it talks about administration, and then later on it talks about all the other definitions. So just open your block 1, unit 1, you will be able to understand that also. So let's go to the theory Y. Assumption you were talking about, the nature under theory Y was that there has to be the employer and employee. Yes, please.
There is a relationship between the human being and the management, that is the employee and the employer. And here also there are certain assumptions about the human nature under the theory. The expenditure of physical and mental work is being as natural as play or rest. The average human being does not inherently dislike work depending upon controllable conditions. So either he may think that the work may be a satisfaction for him or it may be a punishment for him. Then external control and threat of punishment are not only the means for bringing about efforts towards the organizational objectives. So a person in an organization also exercises self-control and self-direction.
So that's very important, that there is a self-direction and self-control. Yes. What are the other important theories which you would like to discuss?
The next one is ecological approach. The ecological approach in which the administration does not function in isolation. He said that we also have to include the environment that influence each other. So Rick has made certain contribution to the ecological approach. He said studied about the relationship between the administration and the socio-economical, technological, political and communication factors. So he prepared certain ideal models for this. So the models is a global system as a frame of reference for his categorization and development of. So he made 3 models for this in an ecological approach.
And this is where I think ecological approach is the one where environment is given more importance, and that's why he said fused model, prismatic model and diffracted model. As the time is running up, we'll try to close here, and let me just say that in this session we had a very good discussion about theories. We talked about classical approach, we mentioned about human relation approach, system approach, behavioral approach, also discussed about socio-psychological approach. X and Y factors in the discussion also were there, and the ecological approach. So this gives you an overview that how you can use even the multiple approaches to make decision and provide good care to the patient. We will continue after 15 minutes, say at 1 o'clock we'll be back. So join us back and ask the question whatever you have. Thank you very much so far, and we'll resume back at 1 o'clock.